Hey, how is it, everyone? So, I want to show you a small trick that we are using with ingest action. So, ingest action is a inbuilt feature that is available in Splunk. So, this is a feature that will let you do some basic filtering, send logs to a different location, things like that. Right. The only thing that is missing in ingest action is there is no metric, right? So if you want a full-fledged solution similar to intersection, you would have to go for Splunk Edge processor available in cloud, right? One other option is going with Curve, right? So this is a basic option that you have inbuilt into Splunk. All you have to do is you have to make sure that you are already on Splunk 9.2 or above, right? So you just have to make sure that you are on an up-to-date system. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to enable metrics on ingest action. So this is a setting that is by default is disabled. Right. So you won't see any metrics of how much log is being dropped. Let's say you're creating a filter with using regex and you're dropping data, you don't actually see anywhere that how much data is being dropped in a day-to-day basis, right? There is no record of how much data is being dropped. So this is a setting that is disabled by default, right? So you have to manually enable the setting, right, to get this to work. So it's actually a pretty simple setup. So what we're going to do is I'll show you how to enable this setup, right? So I'm using Splunk on a test system, right? I'm ingesting my own log. So I have created a filter already. So I'm ingesting my Wi-Fi logs, right? So let's say I'm ingesting my Wi-Fi log and the processing is already happening, right? So the filter is already in place. So the way we are going to do it is we have to create a transforms count file, right? Splunk etc system local and transforms, right? And then I'm going to paste the conf like this, right? So underscore rule set is your ingest action, right? So underscore rule set global setting. So by default, this metrics was actually disabled, right? So we are going to change it to false, right? So metrics report interval. So how often you have to collect. So this is set to 30 seconds. This is a test system. So you have to be very careful how much you set your metrics interval, because your more data is getting ingested when you enable metrics. Your heavy is going to send more data. So on your prod network, you have to be careful how much setting you have to keep, right? And then this is the setting, the most important setting. Metrics rule filter is underscore rule and star, right? So basically what this says is every rule that was created and that will be created in the future, you have to create metrics, right? So that is underscore rule star, right? But then what you could do is you can create, let's say you just want it for one rule, right? You don't want to create it for all the rules. The way you have to do it is you have to go to Wi-Fi, right? This is the name, underscore Wi-Fi is your name. You have to make sure you put like underscore rule underscore Wi-Fi. So that is the naming that you would have to use, right? Okay, so anyway, so we put this thing in. I'm going to save this, right? Going to save this and I'm going to restart Splunk, right? So let's wait for Splunk to restart. So now the Splunk server have been restarted, right? So now let me show you, we have new logs coming in, right? Index is equal to Wi-Fi, we're seeing new logs, right? And now if we go to index is equal to underscore internal and we source metrics and groups is transformed. So this is the group that got enabled, right? So when we check here, we can see there is one new line here, right? So this one is telling rule So this is my rule name, underscore rule full colon Wi-Fi filter, right? So this is like the rule name, right? So input is 19,000 bytes, and then out is 12,000 bytes. So that means the other bytes have been dropped, right? So the remaining bytes have been dropped based on the rule that I created. So now what you could do is you can run a search like this. Right, I'm going to zoom in so you can see index is equal to underscore internal. We are calling the index, right? We are doing a sum on the in byte, right? And we are doing a sum on the out drop, right? So this is in, and this is out dot drop, right? And then we are doing a percentage calculator, right? How much percentage is the drop rate, right? So let us run this and see what happens. So this one will actually tell you there is a 38%, 36% drop on the filter that I just created, on this ingest action filter that I just created, right? So on this in source type ingest action that I created, this is the drop rate, right? So based on this, you can create your dashboard, right? And then maybe you can find metrics on how much log is being dropped, right? See, ingest action is a basic tool, right? It just have like around 3 or 4 features. A more robust option for your prod environment would obviously be Splunk ingest action. Be your edge processor, right? But then just to get you going, if you're doing something basic, this would be an option. And by this method you could actually set up your logging as well, right? So again, just want to recap on what I just did, right? All so you this is the transforms file that I created. Global setting, false, and then rule underscore rule, and this is set to global, right? You can use the other filter name that you want if you just want it for one filtering, right? Right. Let me know if you have any issues with this, and I'll see if I can help you out. Thanks, everyone.